We cannot forget that Hungary, this relatively tiny country, is doing a lot more than other Western countries to help persecuted Christians in their homelands, not only in the Middle East, but around the world. And therefore, we are so pleased with this conference, the international consultation on persecuted Christians, especially in the Middle East. We've been here a couple of times, and we experienced personally how those who are officials of the government are so concerned about our plight as Christians of the Middle East. It seems, and I hope that it will, what we call, advise or encourage other nations to do the same, as the Foreign Minister Peters just said that he met with the Italian counterpart, the Minister of Foreign Affairs in Rome, and they talked about this because the Middle East is the other side of the Mediterranean. There was a time the Mediterranean was called by the Romans Mare Nostrum, our sea. And it's not fair that European countries being disinterested, what we call, of the plight of all peoples in the Mediterranean region, especially the Christians who are the indigenous community of the Near and Middle East. Therefore, they have to do something. They have to do something in a way, not just telling we will open our doors to Christian refugees as they are doing with other denominations, but we need them to help us stay in our homeland by defending our human rights, the freedom of religion, not with politically correct language, but firmly and clearly. It's very sad to say this kind of disinterestment, or if you call it in English, but in French we say that, because, as I said, we Christians in the Middle East, we have no such number that make us respected by those nations who are interested in the geopolitical, what we call, agenda of the Middle East. We don't have that richness as the oil producer countries, who have majority of Muslims, and they apply the Sharia very clearly in the front, in the eyes, under the eyes of the whole world. And we don't threat anyone with terrorist acts, with as the what you call ISIS, that means Islamic State, and other terrorist bands of criminals who threaten the whole world, especially now Europe and North America. And therefore, we've been, I can say, I repeat, abandoned, even betrayed, since we are the inherited of apostolic churches from the beginning, and our land is the cradle of Christianity, but it's very sad that we lack numbers and richness. They have to tell those governments they still exercise their power or their ruling as they were in the Middle Ages, that we live in the 21st century. They have to give the religious freedom to all. Let's say, look at Saudi Arabia, which is the best ally for the Western countries because its richness, where it is the religious freedom, not just stating in the report, annual report, that the religious freedom is not guaranteed or respected in Saudi Arabia and other countries they enumerated. It is quite different. In that country, you have no right to exhibit, to show whatever sign of your faith. And you can't, of course, pray in common, and you can't talk about your faith. So how can we accept that the Western countries, they've been defending civil rights and they have their values for religious freedom, for equality, for in citizenship, for not discriminating against others. They are the best allies of such regimes. At the same time, they are instigating rebels and violent opposition to governments. They were mostly, quite frankly, they were probably more, there's probability they had to be directed to more democratic way of governing their country. So it's something you have to look at the hypocrisy and the Machiavellian agenda of those countries. So we were hoping that we met with Vice President Mr. Pence last May, and we exposed to him our plight, our, and also our hopes that we need something real on the ground, not just words. We need, for instance, a vision or kind of disinterested, honest politics regarding Iraq and Syria and Lebanon. So all citizens of those three countries will feel they are safe, they can live in their country without any discrimination. This is what we need. Now, just letting what we call various factions of the population of fighting each other, and that means creating chaos, and the chaos is the worst enemy to all minorities, particularly to Christian community. We can't anymore convince our young generation to stay in the land of their forefathers because they see, and they have they are right, that they have been abandoned, and moral principles, human rights are not respected by those who pretend being defenders of those values and rights, and therefore we can't stop this kind of hemorrhage migrating outside the Middle East. It's very sad to say that those who have the power, ruling power in the Western European countries, have been so much secularized that religion doesn't interest them, except when they have threat by or from a majority of radical Muslims. And this is very what we call a constatation of what we call it's very sad experience that we have, because you have those politicians, they just avoid to talk about the Christian plight in the Middle East, because saying, oh, the Christians are the same like other minorities, or the Islamic states, they did already those terrorists kill many other what we call religious denominations dependent or believers. It's true. They didn't spare anyone. Those who want to oppose them. But for us, it's matter of survival. We've been there for 2 millennia. We've been always reduced by that oppression that doesn't recognize our religious freedom. And now we have been a minority, even in Egypt. If they are 10%, we all know that they need kind of strong, honest ruler like Sisi to give kind of what we call safety to the Christian community there, the Coptic, for instance. We all are in this situation that our survival is really at stake as apostolic churches. I am talking to Christians here. I'm not talking, to humans in their what we call various denominations. I am talking to Christians. They have to remember that the Middle East is the cradle of their Christian faith, and the Middle East had churches since the time of the apostle. And these churches, apostolic churches, now they are under real threat of that losing and even been in danger not to survive anymore in their homeland. Of course, there is another example. That's another real example. Everyone knew that Kurdistan was, what we call directed to have kind of independence. But is it really the time? Is it really the time when Christians are oppressed from all sides that will be kind of military conflicts between many parties, the Kurds against the central government of Baghdad, against the Turks, against the Iranians. So what can you do to give kind of what we call tranquility or serenity or peace to that minority that's been hit so many times for the past 3 decades in Iraq, and especially 3 years ago when our Christian community have been uprooted, what we call eradicated from their homeland in the plain of Nineveh. That was the largest Christian concentration still left in Iraq. So therefore, that means the family of nations, especially those who have the interest in that region, they don't care about us. Okay, they have their own what we call national interest, but they have to be frank with us, telling us that, for instance, we are not supposed to stay, and we have to find a way to get out, not being killed when we are so small minority. So there is another genocide committed against us, not only since the beginning of that phenomenon of what we call ISIS or that Islamic State and Qaeda. That's because now there is another violent conflict. It will now hit Iraq and the region, and it will be a kind of fatal, what we call fatal event for the survival of Christians. The Vatican has no airplane, has no tanks, there's no rockets, no army. But the Holy Father, Pope Francis, is doing his best to be our voice around the world, as I just told him last Monday when we met with him at the Vatican session of the Congregation of Eastern Churches. I told him, I hope, Your Holiness, that your voice not been like of John the Baptist shouting in the desert. We need your voice. We need you to tell the mighty nations that they have been a real danger for the survival of the apostolic churches. They've been in that land, and it will be a great loss not only for Christians in the Middle East, but for the whole universal church, because we have been there for millennia. We are the indigenous people. We have our civilization, our ancient language that is kind of richness to the whole world.